What's up, blessed ones? You are now blaring the podcast. Brought to you by AB1 Studios. Thank you for your time. Listening. You wanna know something else, blessed ones? Now, I might have said this before because, again, this is episode 127. But if I have said this before, I'll double down on it. If I haven't, then you'll just hear me say it for the first time. I'm very active on social media, so those of you who follows me and knows what it is, like I said, sometimes support can just come from based on who you are, based on the name. You know, a lot of times, once you make a name for yourself, there will be stands, there will be fans, there will be people who will see no wrong in your eyes. You will have people who will worship every ground you walk on, who will defend you and fight for you all the time. I've been, I had my fair share of artists and magicians and actors that I've done that for as well. And sometimes we get lost in the sauce. Sometimes we allow our entertainment brain to blind our common sense brain, our logical brain, because that's just how we are. It's a shame that you have to be somebody in order to be somebody. And one thing about me is that I'm an advocate for expressing yourself and just not caring what anybody says. Sometimes we do have to be a little bit more vigilant and a little bit more mindful on who we stand up for. And we also have to keep in mind that nobody is righteous but God himself. We have to strive to be the best that we can be. And it can be cliche, it could be contradicting, because I'm sure that there's people who are, righteous and sufficient and try to be the best that they can be, and there's going to be people that's going to hate. That's just how life is. People are going to hate. People are not going to like what you just because you are who you are. But like I said, there should be a balance, or there shouldn't even be a balance. One thing that I've learned, in my years, just being supportive of my friends, supportive of people I don't know, supportive of just celebrities, I had learned that most of the appreciation that you give to someone, especially your friends, might not go unnoticed, but you're not going to really acknowledge them like you should. You can get taken for granted. And one thing that I have to address because, like I always mention, I do this for free. I write, I create, I build. And even if I have a little bit of help from, my phone or AI or whatnot, I still do things myself. I don't have a team. I have people that love me, that support me when they know, but it's like I'm just very particular when it comes to certain things. I've said this on social media, of course, like I got so many brothers, people that do music. They really do music. They rap, sing, do whatever. And I'm I'm not really, I don't really feel no type. I kind of feel a way about it, but it's like, hey, nobody never asked me for a feature, and nobody, asked for my input or anything. And the sad thing about it is, they know that I've been doing, been creating and writing and doing things since high school. Whether everybody else knows it or not, but those who know. And but everything costs money. A lot of times, I will go out of my way to show people love and to support them because that is what I do. I just like and enjoy. I get a thrill out of being authentically me and showing up for people that I respect and love. And even when it's people that I don't know, because I believe, like I said, I believe that everybody has a voice and a story to tell, not to say that everybody should hear it or people have to, support you all the time. But I just, it's just something that it was just really dawning on me. I have I have the podcast, I have the music, I'm working on my production companies like AB1 Studios, as I always say, but it's like I don't have like no no copyright or anything for it, but everything costs money. And like I mentioned, I probably mentioned it before. Like right now, my only job right now is I'm raising my son and doing DoorDash. Thank God for parents. My mom and my ex-wife's mom and whatnot. They help where they can. Um, but sometimes we have to go and walk out on faith. Because I'm gonna tell you, like a lot of people that when you have to make time for what you want to do, even if you can't do it all the way full time. But like for me, I really enjoy creating. I really enjoy building. And it might not always make sense to everybody, and I understand that. I might not like it, but I understand that everybody has things going on. I have friends and family, who I don't talk to on a regular basis, and that's I'm not gonna act like that. That I don't have my emotions, but that's just because I'm a caring person. Um, but things are what they are, and I'm still learning. I'm still processing how to do things by myself. I have decided today that I love, like me, I'm a relationship man, but I'm not where I need to be financially, mentally, physically, spiritually. I say this reluctantly, but I have to be honest. I'm sacrificing my desire today for me to build up my empire. And even if it's going to be a one man empire, that's what I'm going to do. Because, you know, people talk, everybody has, their takes on, whether people should date if they don't have the money or don't have the means or whatnot. I think everybody's going to have their views and opinions on it. But like I said, I will stand 10 toes down on God's purpose for me. And I'm going to be honest. It's like I pray and I ask Him to deliver me from any sin that is holding me back. And sometimes when God doesn't respond to you, that's the answer. God can do whatever He wants. He's the creator. He's the maker. He's a way maker. He's the willer. And He can do whatever He wants. And I'm going to stand 10 toes down as well on the fact that I don't believe that God will tell you who to, hey, this is this person is the one for you. I understand that you can hear, God in your voice if you show interest in someone and someone's interested in you, and you ask God to, hey, show you, what it is, and He'll show you what it is. But it's always kind of like, I think it's always like a matter of proximity. Let's imagine, like, I had this question before, and it's like, do you think that we live where we was meant to live at, or should we travel? Should we go to across countries? Should we go across the world and try to find something there? And it's not even a matter of relationships. And that's always something that I think about, because like I said, I've been on the dating apps and I haven't deleted it yet. Like I said, I've been a little reluctant in deleting it. It's just like I said, it's just a mindset thing. I just feel like maybe I should wait until I need to be where I need to be. Because me, even like being at 37 and me having to raise my son, co-parenting, just trying to get my money up, just trying to really redirect and focus on my weight loss journey, position myself to where I can actually focus on my companion in a more high capacity for me, because of the way that I love and the way that I show up for people. It needs to be in a certain space, in a certain certain way, because like for me, I love with a pure heart, and sometimes if I am in a relationship, I might not be as focused as I need to be, because like I said, I never, I grew up wanting to do things, wanting to be certain things like podcasting and being a screenwriter and all that stuff wasn't something that I wanted to do when I was, 8 years old, 15 years old, or even 20 years old. Even though, like I said, I used to write, I used to write every day. And even I'm getting back to that, like, I always wanted to write. I always wanted to be a father. I always wanted to be a husband. And one thing that I didn't realize until I was older, until I was married, until I became a parent, is like, man, I might be a little bit more selfish than I thought. But that's really kind of just a trial that I had. I've been blessed to have the support and to have somewhere to stay and sleep and have roof over my head, even after, my relocation back from Virginia to DC, DC to Virginia, and it's like I've been married, and I was only married for under 2 years. But my son is my greatest gift that I have ever gotten. And now that my son is 8 and he'll be 9 this year, as I will be 38 this year, I have to really focus on really bettering myself. It's hard to, you can have help and, have the, have some, but like, you still have to, like, I'm still doing things by myself. I'm not, I'm not freeloading. But, when you have a dream, no matter how hard or no matter what obstacles you have, you have to chase it. You have to get it. But you also have responsibility. I have a responsibility to my son. I have a responsibility to myself. I have a responsibility to God as well. Being a single man and being a father and just being somebody who, like I said, I always have the aspirations, and my ambition might not be where it needs to be, but I'm learning, even with me just doing DoorDash, like, I got a lot to do. I gotta, get my money. Like, I was in school, you know, recently, and, I'm still waiting on the emails and the information, and it's like, I need to, like, call these people because I'm supposed to be taking my test, and I haven't received anything in regards to taking my test. Nobody called me, nobody emailed me. I'm reaching out doing my part, but nobody has emailed me and given me any information on how to take my test. And I also need to re-enroll. And the thing about it is, even though I'm on the scholarship, I'm just like, man, what the heck is going on? Like, I'm really trying to get in a position because, like I said, I need to get back in tech. So I'm going, taking class for cybersecurity. I'm taking, trying to get a trade. Even sometimes when I feel like I said, man, I don't really want to do it. It's just something to be able to fall back on because I do believe that being in tech, that's like really where I was trying to go, like even before, like when I was in middle school, I've been into computers since the 6th grade. So for, man, like 6th grade, I was 11. So for 20 plus years, like I always wanted to work somewhere in computers. I went to school for graphic design, then I went to school for IT. Now I'm in school for cybersecurity. But it's like, why? And the thing about it is, I don't. It's just so much going on, and it's like I'm not even 100% sure what I'm supposed to do. But just stay on point. Like I said, I think I'm in a point in my life now where it's like a lot of things that I desire, a lot of things that I want, I will have. It might take me a little longer, but I will have it. But like I mentioned, I talked about, I'm gonna be a podcast mogul. I'm gonna be, I'm an executive producer of my podcast and even for like my music. I actually have 2 albums dropping next week, just in a couple days. I write my rhymes coming out Monday, April 7th, and then my other, project, I Can't Sing, coming out April 8th, Tuesday. That's just my R&B album, and I appreciate everybody for, listening, and everybody for just being here. But that's just some things I just wanted to get off my chest. Um, but like I mentioned, sometimes, you have to go at it alone. Sometimes you might not have the support that you want. Sometimes you might not have the friends or family that, to back you up and whatnot, and that's fine. I'm cool with, the handful of people, loved ones that I have that, that's been consistent, that's been, riding with me. No love lost for those who aren't, I'm not like a crybaby or nothing. There's just certain things that I think about sometimes, and I really just wanted to get that off and to just come and bring. Cause like I said, I gave people even longer time to, hey, questions, suggestions, requests. Hey, you want to be part of the, the family, cause like I said, anybody who listens is part of the family. Like I said, just one listen, just one, like even if I had one listener every week, it's like, I appreciate it. I'm not a big, well known, podcaster or artist or whatnot, but I'm just somebody who does enjoy creating. I do love doing this. So it's like, even if I everything comes out of my own pocket. Well, like, I'm gonna tell you, I don't care if it's $50. I don't care if it's $10. Like, if there's something that you want to do, you have to start somewhere. You know, some people will spend thousands of dollars on, outfits, thousands of dollars on, on life coaching and everything. And that's cool. If you got it, hey, do what you gotta do. I mean, you invest and do things on what you want to do. Even for me, like, I'm not going to, turn anybody's blessings down. I'm not going to, I'll accept anything. But at the same time as well, if there's something that you want to do, something that you believe in, even if it's something that you enjoy doing, and it costs, I mean, hey, start low, and you can get some equipment and, do things yourself. If you want, like my son, he's been consistent as far as like on what he wanted to be. I want to say like, well, he was 5'4", he's 8 now, and he's like, hey, I want to be a police officer. So it's my duty to make sure that he, whatever it is that he want to do, he might change his mind as he get older and they start experiencing certain things. But and of course I know how black folks feel about police, but it's like, hey man, not everybody's the same, but it's like I have to support that decision. And I love that he wants to do that because of the reason. He wants to help people. He wants to, be able to, stop people who are bad. And that, like I said, as you get older and, experience life, it might change, and that's okay. It's and like my thing is, it's okay to change your mind. You can be doing something for 20 years, and you can be 50 years old, and you might have been doing being a biologist or a scientist, and if you decide you want to, be a doctor, or decide you want to, even be a podcast or be an actor or whatever, like you can do whatever it is that you want to do. I think sometimes in this world, even in America, like I'll just say, is that people want consistency, but it's like, man, it's a new age. Like, I always gonna stand on the word of God, and I believe that even if it's something that you're unsure of, if it's something that you want to try. Just always just ask God to order your steps. I've been redirecting my mind, redirecting, my spirit and energy, back into God more sufficiently, more effectively, where it's like, man, it's gonna be hard, but God will fulfill my every need. I still believe that, and I'm gonna stand on that. But I'm gonna go. Thank you for listening. As always, stay safe, stay productive and positive. This is Blair. I'm out.